Lena Dunham is back and bigger than ever. After about 5 years of hiatus, Lena is back doing press for a new show that she is releasing on Netflix called Too Much, which premieres today as we're recording this. It's about a New Yorker, played by Megan Stalter, who moves to London after a disastrous breakup and finds a connection with Felix, played by Will Sharp, a musician. And this series is loosely inspired by Lena Dunham's own experience of moving abroad and falling in love with her now husband, Louis Felber. So she's doing press for this show right now. She did an interview with Variety, which we'll get to in a second. But there is a clip of one of her recent interviews going viral right now where she talks about the prevalence of fat phobia and body shaming in our culture today, not just in Hollywood, but our culture as a whole. And it's every ist and phobe you can imagine.
Here we go.
We live in a culture that is so deeply fat phobic, misogynistic, racist, ageist. I mean, all the ists, and is forming every single day our dynamic with our body, whether we like it or not. Everybody has to take their whole life's journey in this one body that they've been given. And I think one of the gifts for me of having issues with my health has been realizing how hard our body is working for us all the time. I have a relationship with my body now that exists outside of those things, and I feel very lucky for that.
Yeah, I guarantee you, Lena Dunham, your body is working harder to keep you alive than everyone else's because you're mistreating it. I don't think it even needs to be repeated at this point that our society is anything but fat phobic. For the past 10 years up until very recently, body positivity has been shoved down our throats, especially in media that is directed at a female audience. So there's no need for it anymore. And I think there is actually a new movement pushing back against it. I've seen some skinny talk influencers who are speaking to their female audiences in ways I would only expect male fitness influencers to speak to other men. Very tough love approach. But in this Variety interview, they talk more about body positivity and how Lena Dunham uses her work as a TV showrunner to forward these ideas. Like Girls, Too Much doesn't shy away from sex and is a beacon of body positivity, defying Hollywood's pervasive, insidious beauty standards. Hollywood doesn't have beauty standards in 2025 if you're telling me that Bella Ramsey is the next leading woman of our generation. But here she says about one of the characters in the show, Jessica's body is not the story of the show, and it's not the story for Felix. Just like in my romantic relationships, it's not the story. And having experienced the backlash over being so open with her body, Lena Dunham is fiercely protective of Megan Stalter, a plus-size actress, because, as she puts it, I probably wasn't protective enough of myself. I have been in Hollywood at every size. I've been a sample size. I have had my body change because of life, illness, aging, menopause, and it is merciless wherever you are. If anybody has anything to say about any of my actors, I keep my mouth shut on most things these days, but try a bitch. I am not playing around here. It's the only time that I'm going to be taking my hoops out, ready to fight. Lena Dunham, you will lose. You will lose. If anyone runs, you're not going to be able to outpace them.
We get a 20 on Rumble from DeGrunt. Says, I'm a bit behind, but I'm so glad Markle's character got dropped after like 2 episodes when she was on Fringe. Yes, that did happen. She had like whatever the opposite of chemistry is. She had that with all the characters. It was pretty bad.
I asked Dunham whether she thinks the world has become more accepting of seeing all types of bodies on screen since Girls. She says no. I wish I could say yes, but I really don't. I think we had this moment, body positivity was here, and then it was gone. I obviously am not critical of anybody's choice, whether it's to use Ozempic. People should be allowed to have whatever body they feel comfortable in, but we cannot pretend that the bodies people want aren't influenced, and we can't claim it's always for health reasons and not for aesthetic reasons. Well, God forbid somebody wants to be skinny because it makes them more attractive.
All of my time in the gym, and I've spent tons of time in the gym recently, it's all because of aesthetics.
She's come to accept that body shaming in Hollywood is, quote, pretty inevitable, but just because I've become used to it for myself doesn't mean that I feel comfortable about it for anyone else. At a time when the whole world feels like it's going backwards, Lena Dunham is adamant that she'll keep advocating for her beliefs in her art. And that includes shoving body positivity in our faces. You can't argue with the success of girls, though.
Yeah. Oh, no, not at all.
Like, she has earned her bona fides, but...
The issue with the concept of any type of positivity movement is that it's inherently anti-reality, which is that in the real world, every idea, every notion is going to be disliked or pushed back on by somebody. But when you're part of the just be kind, be positive all the time crowd, which if I'm being honest, I almost incline myself more towards that, or at the very least, like, move on with your day crowd, rather than harp on stuff. You kind of ignore the fact that that's not how the real world works. And especially when you kind of push it out there to people, you're kind of pretending that you could live in a world where everybody's going to agree or get along all the time. And that's just not the way the real world works. It's never going to be. So Your mission was always a losing mission. And in a certain respect, I feel bad for you. But at the same time, it was used as a cudgel for so long, I don't care.
I don't know if I feel bad for her because she's lying to people.
I speak more in the theoretical sense. I feel bad for the people that do generally feel that way and buy into the surface level arguments of these things about we should all just kind of get along and everybody should just kind of let other people like things and, everything is this and everything is that. There are plenty of people who don't have socio-political intentions behind it that probably hear nice, pleasant messages and go on about their day kind of feeling better about themselves because they seem to agree with it without really introspectively examining what that means.
I just don't buy the argument that anyone is politicizing fatness other than fat activists like Lena Dunham herself. Her physique is a statement. It's a political statement, and it's to tell the world, F you and your beauty standards. F you for wanting to look at something pleasant. Like, it is actually a movement of spite that is the reason why she herself presents as this monstrosity and also wants to cast a fat female protagonist in her new show. They also continue into her decision to include an abortion in the storyline of Too Much. And there is an infamous scene from Girls that has circulated on X several times at this point, showing Adam Driver's character reacting to his love interest, who says she just got an abortion, and he's devastated by this news, and it's prompted a lot of reactions. Some people think that the scene is meant to glorify abortion. Others think that it's actually a very nuanced perspective from someone like Lena Dunham. And she's actually presenting Adam Driver's character as sympathetic for his reaction. But in Too Much, she says there is an abortion storyline, and it's because she will advocate for her beliefs when it comes to the depiction of women and their rights on screen, even though Girls famously ended with Hannah, her character, deciding to go forward with an unplanned pregnancy. When asked about an abortion storyline in Too Much, she says, "It felt right for the story. It felt true, and I thought there's a way to talk about this and make it emotional and honest, but also not make it something that she needs to regret or feel shame about." And, this obviously just flies in the face of reality. If you look at statistics, women feel very intense, self-reported shame and regret about their abortions, and that's not something that's been conditioned into them. It's because they're coming to grips with the gravity of the decision they made to end a life, the life of their own child. But she says this is prompted by Roe v. Wade getting overturned and her feeling the need to address that in her art. Obviously, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, it became really important to me. And living in England and the shock of them seeing what was happening was huge too. It's alarming and terrifying. She says being in New York for the summer, she's also observed people's fear and their pain about the post-Roe abortion restrictions.
How big is England?
People living in
How many
New
How many
York.
people are in England? Like,
Let me check.
like the thing is like England is what? The size of a
It's something
state?
In England or the
70
UK?
million. I think it's something like 70 million.
The entirety of the UK is how many people?
It's something like 70 million.
So it's the size
Six-
of like a state here in America. A small,
69,
like a,
442.
Yeah, but she's expressing that the English were feeling such horror at the regressive abortion restrictions taking place in the United States, and she's saying that her friends who live in New York City are fearful that they won't have access to abortion. Make it make sense, because I mean, if you live in Georgia, okay, maybe you could say that. If you live in New York City, you have nothing to worry about if sacrificing children to Moloch is one of your hobbies. In order to find a correct tone for the show and wanting desperately to portray abortion in a way that's not shame-based, Lena Dunham worked with Planned Parenthood, with which she had also collaborated on similar storylines in Girls. She said about the character, she's not having a hard time because of the abortion, and the abortion is a choice she can make for herself to choose herself and to choose her life. Well, it's just very transparent. You're saying that getting an abortion is choosing your life over another person's life. And they've really gone mask off with that rhetoric in recent years. Like they don't care about using underhanded tactics to convince you that, you know, they don't believe that a fetus is a human being. They fully admit that now, and they're saying, yeah, we're killing people. What about it? Yeah. We deserve to, because, you know, hedonism is our core value.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.